Besides, they don't even know what he looks like or where to find him, since no one has ever seen him. This is when Stan reveals that he actually has seen him. Actually, a lot of people saw him, and everything was totally fine. This is a reference to the fact that in the Season 5
You
episode
skipped my
Super
link
Best
D.
Friends, Muhammad
Start
is
at
in the
2,
episode.
10
Kind of a lot,
and
too,
skip
and
and
there was
be
absolutely
Alice.
no issue with his inclusion back then. This episode is actually banned now. However, up until Cartoon Wars, when Matt and Trey pointed it out to Comedy Central, the episode was totally fine and allowed to air with no issue. After Stan reveals he knows where to find Muhammad, we are brought back to Tom Cruise's evil lair, where his true intentions are revealed. While everyone assumed Cruise was just trying to end the town of South Park, his true plan was to find a way to harvest Muhammad's power. What is this power?
Muhammad has a power that makes him impervious to being made fun of. What if we could harness that power?
The power to not be made fun of. Since Muhammad is the only person that you can't make fun of, it only makes sense to use him to harness this power. Just then, Cartman arrives and reveals that he is there for a celebrity associate that wants to get in on the deal.
Jennifer Lopez! Hey, Jen!
I didn't hear no bell. Here's another link.
And I've already explained so many of them that I gotta cut some of them, but just know that Cartman's hand
No
looks
further
like
links.
Jennifer Lopez and everyone believes it, but it's actually a con man
What
named
the
Mitch
fuck
Connor who was
happened to the
impersonating
top
Jennifer
of your
Lopez to
head?
steal the goo that
Is
allowed
this what
Muhammad to not be
balding
made
does
fun
to a motherfucker?
Simple stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, Stan and Kyle arrive at the
I'm
hall
very
of the Super
thick
Best
hair.
Friends, this being another callback
That's
to
why I
the
had to
previously
cut it,
mentioned
because
episode
it
in
becomes
which
very
all of the
warm during
religious
summer.
figures of the world work together to fight crime.
But keep
You
projecting,
know, I didn't
man.
realize how much deep lore this show has until I started writing this script. Well, anyways, they realize Muhammad isn't there, and they have to convince the Super Best Friends to get him. They begin proposing different ideas to have Muhammad be not seen and given to Tom Cruise. They get frustrated, but Joseph Smith reminds them of why this is important.
You need to understand that people get very offended when Muhammad is mocked because he's a religious figure. Buddha!
They finally decide that they will place Muhammad in the back of a U-Haul truck where Tom Cruise can talk to him. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise learns from Rob Reiner that they need to harvest the goo inside of Muhammad, as that is what makes him impossible to be made fun of. This is another callback to Rob Reiner and his goo in the anti-smoking episode. Again, it's a whole thing and I don't want to get into it right now. So they construct a machine to transfer his goo to the user. So now Muhammad is in the back of the U-Haul and ready to go, when they realize that Tom Cruise wants Muhammad in his limo. He still isn't allowed to be shown though, so they decide they need to put him in a mascot costume to pass him over. The limo arrives, and Muhammad dressed in a bear costume is walked towards the limo. But just then, Mr. Garrison reveals that he received a letter from an extremist group saying that they will bomb South Park if they give Muhammad to the celebrities. They don't believe the letter, and as they are walking Muhammad into the limo, it suddenly explodes. When they look closer at the note, it details that the group wants Muhammad for the same reason as the celebrities, his power to not be ridiculed. So exactly who are these radical extremists that don't want to be made fun of?
Our time is near! Soon gingers will never be made fun of again!
Gingers have souls.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. Then we see that Cartman has walked out on Mitch Connor, saying that he doesn't want to go along with the plan anymore. This is until Mitch Connor mentions that he has info on Cartman's father. He tells him that everything about his mom being a hermaphrodite was a lie to protect a group of people, and he can help him find out who his real dad is. Hearing this, Cartman is back on board. Back with the residents of South Park, they realize they have no choice but to give Muhammad to the Gingers. Tom Cruise is incredibly upset, and he realizes that the only way to get what he wants is to fight fire with fire. He needs to threaten them with violence to get his way. And who does he call upon for such a large task? He calls on her. The one celebrity that hasn't appeared in this episode yet, but is more powerful and holds more hatred towards South Park than all of the others combined.
Barbra Streisand.
Barbra Streisand. Or should I say Mecha Streisand, as she was turned into a kaiju way back in season 1. They reactivate her, and being that she has more beef with the town than anyone else, she is ready to go. Meanwhile, Cartman visits Mr. Garrison, asking to speak with Mr. Hat, another name that we haven't heard in years. It's Mr. Garrison's puppet that also has a mind of its own. Back in town, the Gingers arrive and demand that Muhammad come out of the costume to prove that it's really him in there. And we end with Mr. Hat admitting that the results of Cartman's paternity test were altered. Okay, so that's episode 200. pretty typical South Park, lots of callbacks and references to celebrate 200 episodes, but nothing too crazy. All around, it was a good episode with
Just
an interesting
watch the
cliffhanger.
episode.
I sure hope it
Yeah,
doesn't
at this
cause
point.
any sort of extreme backlash.
Alright. It's too long.